A thick blanket of morning mist clings to the jagged peaks of the Andes Mountains. A lone shaman walks slowly along a narrow dirt path carved into the cliffside. His calloused fingers lightly brush against the vibrant green leaves of a wild tobacco plant. Dewdrops slide down the waxy surface, falling silently onto the dark soil below. Inside a nearby mud-walled structure, a small fire crackles in the center of the room. Gray smoke spirals lazily upward, seeking an escape through a small opening in the thatched roof. The shaman kneels before the flames, his breath steady and controlled. He carefully places dried, brown leaves onto the glowing red embers. A rich, earthy aroma instantly fills the confined space. The tribal elders sit in a silent circle, their wrinkled faces illuminated by the dancing firelight. An eagle feather sways gently in the shaman's hand, guiding the rising smoke toward the sky. He inhales the burning vapor deeply, his eyelids fluttering closed in deep concentration. The smoke billows outward, draping the ancient ritual symbols carved into the stone walls. Outside, a sudden gust of wind rustles the dense canopy of the surrounding rainforest. A carved wooden pipe rests on a hand-woven textile mat near the altar. Intricate geometric patterns on the pipe reflect the dim, flickering orange glow. The shaman exhales a long, continuous cloud that hovers over the silent gathering. No words are spoken as the community absorbs the sacred atmosphere. Rain begins to tap gently against the clay exterior of the hut. The embers slowly fade into fine white ash, signaling the end of the ceremony. Shadows stretch long and thin across the dirt floor as the sun dips below the horizon. The scene slowly dissolves, traveling across a vast expanse of dark, turbulent ocean water. Waves crash violently against the wooden hull of a 15th-century European sailing ship. A sailor leans over the deck railing, staring intently at an unfamiliar coastline in the distance. Thick white fog rolls over the sandy beach where indigenous people stand waiting. A native leader extends a bundle of dried golden leaves as a gesture of peace. The European explorer accepts the gift, his eyes scanning the lush, unexplored terrain. Sunlight pierces through the dense clouds, glinting off the explorer's polished metal armor. Back on the ship, a match sparks to life in the dim captain's quarters. Dry leaves burn inside a crude clay pipe, filling the cabin with a harsh, unfamiliar scent. The captain coughs violently, his eyes watering from the intense, unaccustomed heat. Yet he immediately takes another slow, tentative breath of the pungent smoke. The ship sails back eastward, leaving a trail of white foam in the deep blue sea. Time accelerates across the map, transforming muddy ports into sprawling stone cities. London streets gleam with wet cobblestones under the pale light of gas lamps. A wealthy nobleman steps out of a horse-drawn carriage, adjusting his velvet coat. He opens a silver snuff box, pinching a small amount of dark powdered tobacco. A sharp sneeze echoes through the foggy alleyway as he inhales the substance. Inside a crowded tavern, clay pipes clink against heavy glass beer mugs. A thick layer of hazy smoke hangs perpetually just beneath the wooden ceiling beams. The sacred ritual plant has officially entered the bustling markets of the old world. Coins clink into iron cash boxes, marking the birth of a new global trade network. Large wooden crates packed tight with tobacco leaves are stacked high on the shipping docks. Heavy cargo ships depart daily, bound for distant ports across the globe. The world has caught a taste for the smoke, and the demand grows insatiable. Industrial smokestacks begin to dominate the city skyline, belching dark soot into the air. The era of manual processing slowly gives way to iron gears and steam power. A massive metal machine roars to life inside a brick factory building. Long sheets of white paper are fed into spinning rollers at incredible speeds. Shredded tobacco leaves cascade down a metal chute, filling the automated assembly line. The very first industrially manufactured cigarette rolls off the conveyor belt. A glass door opens into a silent, air-conditioned corporate boardroom in mid-20th century New York. A powerful executive sits at the head of a long, polished mahogany table. His expensive leather shoes rest comfortably on the thick, plush carpet below. A gold-plated lighter clicks, casting a sharp yellow flame across his stern face. He ignites a perfectly white, uniform cigarette and exhales a thin stream of gray smoke. The smoke curls lazily toward a spinning chrome ceiling fan. On the table lies a thick manila folder labeled with a bold red confidential stamp. A fountain pen leaks a tiny drop of dark black ink onto the cover page. The executive flips open the folder, revealing charts of deteriorating human lung tissue. Statistical graphs clearly display a sharp, undeniable spike in mortality rates. His eyes narrow slightly as he reads the internal scientific findings on nicotine addiction. Outside the floor-to-ceiling glass window, a massive billboard is being erected on the street below. Workers paint a giant image of a smiling, trustworthy doctor holding a cigarette pack. The executive closes the folder firmly, sliding it into a deep, lockable desk drawer. He picks up a telephone receiver, his voice calm and completely unbothered as he speaks. A massive marketing campaign is officially greenlit with a simple nod of his head. Television screens flash to life in millions of living rooms across the nation. A glamorous actress smiles into the camera, exhaling a graceful cloud of white smoke. Young couples laugh on sunny beaches, bright cigarette boxes tucked into their pockets. The corporate deception begins to weave its way into the fabric of daily life. Billions of dollars pour into the company's offshore bank accounts every single quarter. Meanwhile, automated factories expand, operating 24 hours a day without pause. Steel blades slice through millions of paper cylinders every minute. Chemical additives are quietly introduced into the massive tobacco processing vats. A scientist in a sterile white lab coat monitors a digital readout on a control panel. He adjusts a valve, increasing the ammonia levels to accelerate nicotine absorption in the brain. The product is no longer just a plant. It is a highly engineered delivery system. The corporate boardroom fills with celebration as profit margins reach historic heights. Glasses of expensive champagne clink under the sparkling crystal chandelier. The true cost of the multi-trillion-dollar industry remains safely hidden behind closed doors. The camera shifts downward, moving through the concrete floor into the dark city streets. Rain pours relentlessly, washing discarded cigarette butts into the storm drains. A lonely neon sign flickers outside a damp hospital entrance across town. A doctor walks down a sterile, brightly lit corridor with a heavy tread. He stops outside a patient's room, staring down at a clipboard filled with medical charts. Inside, an elderly man breathes heavily with the assistance of a rhythmic oxygen machine. The patient's trembling hand rests on the cold metal side rail of the bed. An empty, crumpled pack of cigarettes sits forgotten on the bedside table. The doctor sighs quietly, rubbing his tired eyes before entering the room. The contrast between the glamorous advertisements and the stark reality is absolute. Decades pass in a blur of spinning clock hands and changing calendar pages. The classic paper cigarette slowly begins to lose its cultural dominance. New laws ban smoking inside public spaces, forcing users out onto the cold sidewalks. Yet, the multi-trillion-dollar empire refuses to let its highly profitable market fade away. In a secretive high-tech laboratory, engineers brainstorm a modern evolution. Blue light from computer monitors illuminates a prototype made of aluminum and plastic. A sleek, minimalist vaping device is carefully assembled by a robotic arm. Liquid nicotine flavored like sweet fruit is injected into a tiny plastic pod. The ancient smoke is repackaged as a harmless, futuristic water vapor. A young teenager stands under the bright lights of a modern city convenience store. Colorful plastic devices line the shelves behind the cashier, blinking invitingly. The boy purchases a sleek metallic pen, slipping it quickly into his hoodie pocket. He walks out into the cool night air, joining a group of friends on a concrete bench. With a quick pull, a small LED light glows bright blue at the base of the device. A dense, sweet-smelling white cloud erupts from his lips, completely obscuring his face. The vapor dissipates rapidly into the chilly air, leaving a scent of artificial strawberries. His friends laugh, taking turns passing the small metallic device around. The modern marketing machine targets a completely new generation through digital screens. Social media feeds display bright, stylized videos of influencers performing vape tricks. Algorithms amplify the trend, ensuring millions of young eyes view the content daily. The underlying chemical trap remains identical, hidden beneath a glossy, high-tech facade. Corporate executives in modern glass skyscrapers review the skyrocketing sales data. They smile as the addiction cycle successfully resets for another 50 years. The ancient plant has been entirely stripped of its sacred history and communal purpose. It is now a permanent fixture of global consumer capitalism, optimized for extraction. A camera pans away from the modern city, flying backward through time and space once more. The concrete jungle dissolves, replaced by the vast silent plains of the ancient world. A nomadic tribe sits around a crackling campfire under a star-filled sky. A massive mammoth tusk rests near the entrance of their leather tent. The thick wood smoke curls into the night air, drifting past their weary faces. A hunter looks up at the stars, his mind wandering in the deep, prehistoric quiet. He notices a patch of wild herbs burning at the edge of the fire pit. The unique aroma catches his attention, prompting him to lean slightly closer to the source. He inhales a small plume of the distinct smoke, feeling a sudden sense of calm wash over him. It was a pure, accidental encounter with the power of nature's chemistry. There were no corporations, no warning labels, and no profit margins back then. There was only the fire, the smoke, and the deep mystery of the human mind. The hunter shares the discovery with his companion, pointing toward the burning plant. Together, they watch the gray smoke rise and disappear into the infinite night sky. In a parallel display, a modern museum exhibit stands quiet under soft halogen spotlights. Visitors walk past a glass case containing a 3,500-year-old indigenous stone pipe. The artifact is perfectly preserved, its surface still stained with ancient chemical residue. A little girl presses her face against the cold glass, staring at the ancient object. She does not know the long, bloody history of deception tied to that simple stone tool. Her father gently pulls her away, walking toward the museum exit. Outside, the modern world roars with the sound of traffic and bright electronic billboards. A giant digital screen displays a sleek advertisement for a tobacco alternative. The multi-trillion-dollar industry continues to adapt, hiding its true face behind innovation. The ancient scam lives on, completely disguised as a lifestyle choice. From the campfire to the boardroom, the human desire for alteration has been weaponized. The thin line of smoke connects the prehistoric past to our hyper-commercialized present. A single dry leaf falls from a tree outside the museum, tumbling down onto the pavement. A passing car crushes the leaf into dust, scattering it into the wind. Somewhere in the world, another match is struck, casting a temporary glow in the darkness. Another cloud of smoke is released, drifting aimlessly into the atmosphere. The ancient ritual has been completely commodified, transformed into an endless loop of consumption. The global empire built on a simple breath shows no signs of slowing down. Humanity remains caught in the invisible multi-trillion-dollar cloud. The fire still burns, but the smoke now belongs entirely to the corporate masters.